What's going on, everybody? My name is Taylor, and today I want to talk about my personal favorite top 5 video game art styles. Now that is really half of video games, right? You got the game part, the part that you play, but then there's also obviously the video part. How does it look? Is it more photorealistic? I guess in these newer generation games, is it all about like how realistic does it look? But then there's some games, most of which I'm going to talk about today, that have some kind of unique art style, whether it be cel shaded or they just do something kind of crazy and different with the art that makes it really stand out and makes it just really beautiful. Now again, these are my personal top favorite art styles, and they may not be your favorite, and they may not even be ones that you like. So definitely leave your top 5 favorite video game art styles in the comments below, because I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Alright, starting at number 5, I've got Tales of Vesperia. Now, the Tales series has been long running, starting all the way back on the Super Nintendo with Tales of Fantasia, which we never got until it came out on iOS and I believe it was the DS or the PSP, some kind of port later on. But Tales of Vesperia, of all the Tales games, has to be my favorite because it kind of takes the anime art style that it's mostly inspired by and turns it into 3D. It kind of reminds me also of the Naruto games, which have a really cool, really crisp cel-shaded art style. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the other art styles are great, like in the Tales of Exilia 1 and 2, and Vesperia seems to be having a similar style. But what I really love about Vesperia is just how bright and colorful the art is. It just really pops. Like, it feels like the characters have this sort of ambient glow to them, and even the backgrounds in the worlds in different towns you go to just really pop out, and just it looks amazing. There's a lot of color, very bright, and it's just one of my favorite art styles in any game. Alright, at number 4, I have Rayman Legends, and it pretty much came out for everything now. And I would have said Rayman Origins had Legends not come out, but I think what they did with UbiArt, of all the games that I've played that use UbiArt, Rayman Legends definitely is the one that stands out most for me. It's kind of like a hand-drawn painting come to life on the screen, and that's exactly pretty much the engine that Ubisoft created for these games and for other games like Child of Light and Valiant Hearts was meant to be. It was meant to be take concept art, take hand-drawn paintings and drawings, and be able to implement them into the game seamlessly. It's like some kind of cartoon or some kind of crazy TV show that you watched as a kid, but come to life. Just the animations, the way they kind of move all crazy when they get hit or run or jump on something, and just how bright and how varied the color palette is. It's amazing. Some of the levels, like the dragon levels when there's fire, just some of the gradient colors and just how it looks and how varied the color scheme is too, is just absolutely amazing. And I commend Ubisoft for doing something ambitious with the UbiArt engine, and Rayman Legends definitely looks really amazing on it. Now number 3 isn't so much a single game, but rather an entire series of games that came out this last generation, and that is the Atelier Alchemy games. Now this has been a very long running franchise that's gone back to the PS2, but I think on the PS3 and on the PS Vita as well is when they really established this really crisp, cel-shaded, hand-drawn art style. Now the backgrounds aren't really anything all that impressive, but what I really love are the character models. They're super detailed, and they almost have this watercolor look to them. Like on their clothes, they have these very elaborate dresses and shirts and gowns and capes, and there's always like this gradient to them. There's all these little tiny details throughout, like on their, maybe if it's a guy it's for their bow, or for girls and maybe it's on their flowing dress, it'll fade from like maybe a dark blue to a pink or something along those lines, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the main reasons why I love that game so much, not to mention, you know, it's got some really addicting gameplay. But every game just really pops. It's very bright. I remember I used to play that game at a buddy's house, and he'd always comment on how bright it was and how colorful it was. And that's what I really love about this game, is that pops out, and that's what makes this series stand out. And it can almost be adapted into an anime, which I believe it has with the Atelier Eshi and Logi. And I'm really looking forward to the next one, Atelier Shally, as it's really going to be kind of an ocean-themed game, and it's going to have some even more beautiful colors. Now number 2 is a game that I think we can all agree has an absolutely amazing art style, and that is Okami. Now on the PS2 and then on the Wii, it was in standard definition, and while it still had a really unique art style, I feel like that realization of that art style really comes to life in the PS3 HD release. The colors are just so crisp, and sort of this old style Japanese watercolor painting really comes to life. Not only with the video game, you know, the main characters, but also with the backgrounds. Just everything flows together to make just this beautiful piece of art. Now, if you've ever seen kind of old style Japanese paintings, I feel like this is exactly what Clover Studios, now known as Platinum Games, was going for. Just this sort of like old style Japanese painting but come to life in a just really beautiful way. Just the way Amaterasu runs across the screen with the fire on her back, or just the way the leaves kick up as you run or as you splash through the water. Everything just looks so unique. Everything pops, from the character models to the backgrounds to the special attacks. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Now, my number one should come as absolutely no surprise. If you've ever seen any of my videos or followed me on Twitter, you'll know that obviously my number one is Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch for the PlayStation 3. It's hands down the single most beautiful, gorgeous, amazing game I've ever played. It has the best art style I've ever seen in a game. It's astonishing how Level 5 managed to take that Studio Ghibli inspired art style and applied it to a 3D game. It's amazing, and I literally tear up like every time I play the game in person. It just blows me away, because it's kind of one thing to see it in trailers or in screenshots or whatever, but to sit there on your couch and see it on your TV, it's just something else. It's so beautiful. And this isn't the first time that Level 5 has taken art style inspired by something else. Obviously, if you played, the Dragon Quest games, they developed 8 on the PS2 and 9 on the DS. They had the art style from Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama, and also, Akira Toriyama also inspired the Chrono Cross art style. But just to have a game that looks like a Studio Ghibli film was really special to me, because I really love the Studio Ghibli films. They're some of my favorite movies of all time. I have every Blu-ray that they've ever put out, and I've seen most of their other movies. So to have basically a Ghibli movie come to life in a video game was just something very special. Studio Ghibli's worked on other games like Jade Cocoon, and there was another Pokemon-like game that they worked on the PS2, but they've never contributed to a game this much. And if you've ever seen the game, you know how beautiful it is, and that's pretty much why it's my number one game. It's beautiful. Well guys, that is my top 5 list for my favorite video game art styles. I'm sure they're not your favorite. Everybody's got their own special taste, so I'd really love to hear what you have to say. It'll be great conversation. I'm sure we're gonna get a ton of different answers. Now, I'm sure you're gonna say that, there wasn't a lot of photorealistic games, because some photorealistic games can have their own unique art style. Like, I feel like Dragon Age Inquisition, just the contrast, the way certain colors pop is kind of unique compared to games I've seen. Or even The Last of Us, the greens and the reds and the oranges really popped. But for me, while those art styles are beautiful, they're not as memorable to me as these other games are, and they don't bring out the same kind of emotions that these games do to me. So anyways guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave a like. It always helps to spread the word about the channel. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because as you know, I've been doing videos once a week, and there will always be a video every week for you guys, every Friday. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.